Hey everybody, welcome back to Tabletop Jason. I'm Jason and today I'll be taking a look at Trash Pandas. It's a game for 2 to 4 players, ages 8 and up. The game takes about 20 minutes to play and it is a pretty simple card game. The goal of the game is to score points, and then at the end of the game you add up your points to see who wins. The way you score points is by doing something called stashing cards. And when you stash a card, you'll have an opportunity to remove the card from the game and place it on a pile that no one else can see. At the end of the game, after the deck has run out of cards, everyone adds up their points. And the way they do it is you take whichever player has the most type of a card gets that many points. So for example, this Yum Yum, whoever has the most Yum Yums stashed would get 4 points. Whoever has the second most Yum Yums would get 2 points. Each card has a number in parentheses, and that tells you how many cards are in the game. So you can kind of use that as a strategy. So like the pie card, whoever has the most of those would get 6 points at the end of the game. Whoever has the second most would get 2, and whoever has the third most would get 1. There's also cards like this one that say you get 1 point per card stashed, so it doesn't matter how many you have, and there's 13 of those. Other cards can be played during the game. I mean, all the cards can also be played during the game, and I'll go over that in a second too. So the way you play, after the cards are dealt, I'll just show with a couple of sample hands. To set up, you actually deal 3 cards to player 1, 4 cards to player 2, 5 cards to player 3, and 6 cards to player 4. That kind of makes up for the advantage that you get for going earlier. So during a turn, oh, that's a terrible draw. During a turn, you will roll a die. And this die has a symbol for all of these tokens. And each token does something different. There is a cheat sheet to tell you that. And I'll just tell you what those do before I roll. The garbage one will allow you to draw 2 cards. I don't like that it uses a garbage can because, to me that means recycle in computers, but it's actually where you draw from. The trees are where you put your stash. So if you roll a tree, you can do that. The side of the dice that's both will let you do a stash or draw a card. This symbol here lets you steal a player from another card. The recycle will let you trade in a token you have for a token that's in the token bank, and I'll tell you that in a minute. And the mask is a little more complicated. You draw a card and you show it, and then every player who has one of those cards can stash that card, but they have to show it so you know they're not cheating, and then you draw a card per. This little cheat sheet is the same on both sides. So when you draw or roll during your turn, you roll the dice and you take a token that matches that symbol. Now, you can roll as long as you want until you've taken all the tokens, or you can stop. The reason you'd want to stop is because if you roll a double, as I just did, all your tokens go back and you don't get to do any of the tokens that turn, but you do get to draw a card as a consolation prize. Let's do that again though and pretend I didn't roll a double. So you roll, you got a trash can, you take a trash can, I'll roll again, take a recycle, I'll do one more and see what it is. And it's another trash can. So that would end the player's turn. They draw a card, and then it'd be player 2. So player 2 will just show the same. Player 2 has these things in their hand. So this, the blammo, lets you re-roll, which is a good thing. And the nanner is even better. It lets you ignore your roll and stop. And the kitten, if a player tries to steal from you. So we'll do a turn for player 2. Player 2 rolls this one. I didn't show what happens if you can successfully keep these, but we'll do that in a second. They rolled a double, so what they're going to do is play this blammo, goes in the discard pile, and then they can roll again. I am a terrible roller, aren't I? So I guess I'll say I almost wonder if I should cheat. No? Okay. So we'll play this nanner card, which lets you stop your roll and choose to stop. So that's what they'll do. They got this so they can stash up to 2 cards. So player 2 will stash just 1, because that's all they have, the nanner, and at the end of the game, if they have the most nanners, they get 7 points. But this one's a tricky one, or risky one, because you'd get 0. But player 2's stash will go right there. Player 2's hand is here. I'm keeping the hand's face up for this sample just so that it's easier to see what they have. But normally, you know, the other players wouldn't see what they have. After the end of their turn, you pass your dice to the next player. You put the token back. So now player 3 would, let's look at their hand. They have 2 blamos. So now they can also play, there, these are good ones. During your turn, you can also play these cards if you don't want to stash them. So like this pizza lets you resolve a token twice. So let's say you've got this one, you could actually stash 4 cards. Or if you have this one, you could stash 3 cards. These let you re-roll. The fish lets you take a card from a discard pile and steal a stashed card from a player with that shiny. So that's the strategy. You need to decide whether you want to play a card or stash a card. So player 3 will roll. Got the double trash can. Player 3 will roll again. Got the recycle. So what the recycle does is when you cash in your tokens, you can trade it for any token that's not been used. If you have all 6 tokens, you don't get to use that. But a bonus is if you can manage to get all 6 tokens, you get to take an extra turn. Got another recycle. Well, that would end the turn. So player 2 will play the blammo card and re-roll that double. And there, get a still card. And that's going to be a good place to stop. So you can play these tokens in any order. We'll start with the recycle one. Cash it in, trade it in for 2 stashes. So player 2 will use this one to draw 2 cards. You can't play the ability on cards the turn you draw them, but you can stash them. So looking at player 3's hand, they've got 2 pizzas, and there's only 9 pizzas in the game. They're going to hope that they can get the most pizzas. So with this card here, they're going to put it back. They're going to stash 2 cards. Player 3's stash is right there. And then with this final one, they'll steal a random card. Oh, look at that. Still a stashed card from a player. So they'll play that and steal a stashed card into their hand, and it's an nanner. Here's some other thing though. While they were trying to steal that card, player 2 had the kitten. The kitten says if a player tries to steal from you, you steal from them instead. So player 2 actually plays the kitten and steals a card from player 3 instead. We do a random. Stole the blammo. So that goes into player 2's hand. Player 3 still has these 2 cards in their hand. And now since they used the shiny fork to try to steal, now they'll use the token to try to steal. And player 2 can't do anything about that, so we get it. So some of these cards, the abilities play kind of like in Magic the Gathering turns. Like this would be like a sorcery spell. You cast it only during your turn. And then things like the kitten would be more like a counter spell. If a player tries to steal from you, you play it during your player's turn. Anyhow, I'll just go around the table once more, just to kind of give you a gist of how it works. So like I said, their hands are face up and their stash piles are face down, but normally all the cards would be face down. So now player 1 goes again. They roll. Let's see what player 1 has again. They have no stash cards. Force a player to continue rolling. That's a good one because if a player wants to stop, you can play that and make them keep rolling and increase the chance of them getting a double. But player 1 has all these yum-yums, so player 1's strategy would be to try to stash those and hope that they have the most. Anyhow, so player 1 rolled this. This token again lets you either stash a card, or draw a new card. We'll roll again. And I'm feeling risky with player 1. Player 1's going to roll one more time. And oh, did the double again. So player 1 has no luck at all. The tokens are returned to the pool. And when you fail, you still get to draw a card, so you at least have something. And that's it for player 1's turn. Player 2 has no cards in hand. 1 card stashed. So player 2 rolls, draw 2, or take a draw 2 token. Player 2 is going to go once more and recycle, and that's where player 2 will stop. So player 2 would trade in that recycle for I think I want player 2 to draw more cards. So player 2 is going to use the tokens, both of these, and get to draw 3 cards. 1, 2, 3. A Yum Yum and 2 Nanners. And player 2, I believe, has a Nanner stashed here. So player 2 is going to want to try to keep stashing Nanners to try to build as many as they can. So that's player 2's turn. We'll do player 3's turn. Player 3 has these Blamos. So player 3 is going to try to get more. So we got this token. We got the steel token. The mask. The trash. Player 3 is going to keep... No, player 3 is going to stop there. That's a good place to stop. But lo and behold, player 1 has the Yum Yum, and player 1 is going to play the Yum Yum. So that means player 3 has to take another roll. Oh, and it worked. We got a double. So player 3 would have to discard their tokens, but we got a Blamo. So player 3 can play the Blamo, take another roll, and hope it's not a duplicate. Oh, and it's not. So on that note, player 3 is going to stop. But player 1 feels like being a jerk, is going to use another Yum Yum. You see how you can kind of mess with your other players on this? So now player 3 has to roll again. Whoops. And player 3 rolled another double. So player 3 will play the Blamo to get to roll again. And got the double. Has no more Blamos, so player 3 sadly doesn't get to use any of those tokens, but gets to draw a card, and it's a fiche. And that's how player 3's turn ends. So that's it. You can only stash cards when you have a token or another card that tells you to. And then you play like this until you run out of cards. And whoever's turn it is, when the last card is drawn for any reason, at the end of that turn, everybody discards what's left in their hand. And then they reveal their stashed cards. Since I only did a couple of rounds, there's not a lot of stashed cards to reveal, but we would say player 1 has the most, or player 1 doesn't have any stash cards. Player 2 has 7 nanners, so player 2 would get 7 points. Player 3 has the most pizza pies, and that would get you 6 points. If player, let's say player, do we have any pizzas left? Let's say player 1 had 1 pizza, then player stashed, they would have got 2 points. So you just go through, you sort out your piles, you add up the scores, and that's how you determine who wins, and then that's the end of the game. It's a pretty simple game. It's a fun game to play, and like I showed, you can mess with your opponents quite a bit with these Yum Yums and cards like that and the stealing. My only complaint with it really is I'm not a big fan of that get to the end of the game and add up your points, because I've play tested some games with some friends where I swear you'll spend a good 15 minutes at the end tallying up all your points, and just an anticlimactic ending, I'll say, because I'm more of a kill your opponent like Magic, or defeat the dragon like Talisman, or something like that. But that's just me. Everybody has their preference, and this is a fun game. I'd say pick it up if you've got young kids. I played with my 10-year-old and he really liked it, and my 8-year-old liked it too. But that'll do it for this video. If you'd like to support the channel, you can like this video and subscribe to the channel. You can also check out tabletopjason.com for links to this and all the games I review. And if you'd like to check out my card game, go to 52dragons.com, where you can view sample cards or sign up for Patreon to receive new and exclusive cards each and every month. I'll be back with another video soon, so thanks for watching.